this live now. You are live. You are streaming. You're here and live and in charge. So we've got lots of guests, but more are coming. So Rhonda, why don't you introduce the show and sort of the topic, and we'll go from there. Then we can start.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lethal Sales. Something new and different tonight. We are streaming live, thanks to Ian, and I hope it works.
Is my hair and makeup fine? Just
Yeah,
making sure. Okay, got
glasses
it.
look great too. Oh, goody! Here comes Larry, one of our hosts.
So yeah, if you're not tuning in live and on the Zoom, you can stream it live on 3 platforms. So it's on LinkedIn Live, it's on YouTube, and it's also on Twitter. I believe I put it on as well. So those 3, but the recording will be available, of course, as well. And we'll, as we get through with this, as we do it more and more, there'll be more and more people tuning into the live stream. But like the show that I do on Mondays, the live stream, you could get comments. So if I see any, I'll let you know. I tend to look at them, but it depends on whether people comment. So go ahead, Larry.
It's a whole new world for me. I thought I saw Larry. Oh, there he is. Hi, Larry. Welcome to our streaming Lethal Sales.
Very, very nice to see everybody.
Hi, Larry.
Hey, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm having a great week in Georgia. Getting a lot of people hired, having a lot of fun running around.
Georgia.
Right. We are streaming live, boys and girls. Okay. So tonight's topic is how fix ops can sell cars. And the reason I came up with that topic was because there I was sitting at the dealer, spending a ton of money getting my car fixed. And across the waiting room was this young woman who got a visit from one of the service managers or service associates or whatever, almost like he was saying, like he was in the hospital saying, your loved one is dying. So he came to her and he said, this car is really not worth saving. You've got like $5,000 worth of work on it. Excuse me. And she had like 100,000 plus miles on it. And he convinced her to come look at a new car. So I saw this in real time. And that's one way that the fix ops department can sell a car.
Yeah.
Larry.
Rhonda,
Ian.
thank you.
Well,
Go ahead. That is such a real world problem that is hidden. And great way to open up, and I'll let everybody else jump in from there. But I've been working with dealers for many, many years. And unfortunately, you see that customer that got overextended and they're in the dealership and they need a set of tires for $600 or $800. And they're not giving consumers options. They need to get, yes, you can buy a new 4 set of tires for your car, but you still need a bunch of other work. And maybe let's give you some options. Let's get an appraisal. So this is the mentality that the service departments, that a lot of people have been screaming. That's where it starts. There's gold, as they say, in the service drive. So Rhonda, thank you for because it's happening every day in that waiting room in that service drive, and there's a lot of opportunities there.
Yeah, I was working with a Toyota store in Beaverton, Oregon, and they do about 600 ROs a day. It's a huge Toyota store near the Nike headquarters, and they actually have an office in the service drive, like right next to all the actual receptionist is.
Tires and the same.
Yeah.
So they got
Yeah. So they have a person there full time. That's all that person does. Oh, let me share some options with you. So if that comes up, they just do that. It's just,
But you know what's really nice? The new build outs in the new dealerships with the service drive that are putting the service advisors right in the lane with a decent office, and the consumer can come out and come in, and then they can sit, and then they can get a cup of coffee. And then they can learn about extended service contracts or interest-free payments on the repairs that need to be done. It's a need now. It's a need because people can't afford the $5,000, you know, and so now they sometimes have to look for some of these financing sources to finance their ROs. And so there's where creative dealers should be able to jump all over that and give them opportunity to either, hey, let's trade you out, let's work a deal, you know, let's do something, and then that's a great trade-in. There's where all the used car guys are talking. That's where the money is. And Ian, I want to hear more about that service department because F&I needs to be offered in the service drive, and because the intimidation of buying the car stops a lot of people from buying F&I. But now if they've been in that car for 2 or 3 years and they understand it and like it, now is a perfect time to wrap around a service contract or buy some tire and wheel coverage. So the service lane is definitely very fertile today.
Well, let me give you a sense of the scale. So I don't know if you've ever been to a Toyota store with 60 or 70 service bays, but they had something like that.
I'm from Connecticut. We're lucky when we got a dozen.
Yeah, so they had like 60 or 70 service bays. They had, I think, 18 service writers and 2 express oil change writers. And service manager. They have a main reception when you walk into service. They got a car wash that's like industrial size. They got a cafe that's like Starbucks size, like it's huge. They've got gear they sell in the drive reception or like T-shirts or whatever. But the thing that really surprised me about that dealer and how they did things was they also had a very unique sales process called Clear that they developed in-house. But the key thing was, how can we retain that current service customer? I saw used Toyotas in their service drive that people bought new like 25 years ago. They were still servicing there. Like it was crazy. But the thing about it and the difference in that market versus other stores that I've seen at that scale, say a Chrysler store in LA, for example, to give you that same kind of scale, what they were doing is they're trying to help the customer. Like, hey, you're a service customer. You got this car. It's an older car. We quoted you some work. Well, we have an office here with a gentleman who basically just helps if you want to change your car. And I remember going into the sales side because I was curious. I was training on the service side, but I was curious on the sales side. Well, they have a process called Clear where basically the salesman can negotiate a deal at the desk on a tablet without even talking to the manager at all. Like basically, oh, you want to configure this car? Okay, let's configure it together. And it was very simple.
They gave him the guidelines.
Yeah.
They gave him the underwriting guidelines.
Yep. And they were doing 600 ROs a day. Like it was not a small amount of traffic. But to your point, if I'm in the service department and I'm saying, hey, I got 600 people coming in tomorrow. I mean, maybe some of them don't show up, but let's just say 80% do. I know who those people are. I know what cars they have. So I can really put a game plan together and say, okay, we want these cars, but more importantly, these ones are probably going to have some repairs. Maybe there's a conversation. I can plan my day. And if you orchestrate it, there's definitely a huge opportunity there.
Well, and I'll just continue to layer back is that today, a new car customer has 2 major problems that they need to be concerned about. So getting into an accident or having the car break down. So if they can buy an extended service contract, if they're in a situation where they can't get out, that's a new sale. And now when that customer pays off their car and they had great service on the service contract, well, now it's a renewed customer from the service department. And so now those customers where they say brand loyalty is lost over the last 5 years, is that it's where they're servicing their vehicles. Those dealers that have been proven to the customer that we're a good resource and they're coming back, they're winning. And the ones that aren't, guess what? We know it. They were retailing out of it. And all they're going to continue to do is try to retail out of it. It needs to be a service department that caters to the customer's needs. Not that, oh, by the way, somebody's in the service lane that wants an oil change. Who's up?
Yeah, well, that was the other funny thing. So they had two teams of technicians. There's a red team and a green team, and they were on both sides of the service bays. So picture whatever, 30 on each side. And sometimes there wasn't enough staff to fix the car in the time. So I was asking the guys on the left side, or I guess with the green team, well, why don't you just get help from the red team? Oh, no, we don't work with the red team. They're like our nemesis. I'm like, but you're in the same building. So it's really kind of interesting. They pitted them against each other. It was really interesting dynamic in that store.
I think
Very
it's kind of
interesting.
progressive that we've gone from sales and service to fighting. Now service is fighting amongst itself. I guess it's progress in some strange diluted way.
Hey,
Yeah,
steak and beans, right? We're in the 90s. We would try to do that with sales forces. You'd have a sales manager and a team, and those guys they banged heads. If it was one deal, they were fighting over it. So love that animosity that we created in the automobile industry. It just sits there forever.
But what's worse than the animosity is the lethargy. When I go around to these different agencies, whether it's Texas, whether it's Philadelphia, whether it's Georgia, one of the simple questions I ask is, how often do you go to service in the morning? Man, it's like, it's crazy how they don't see this as an opportunity. Here's a customer that's already in the dealership. They've already done work with you. And if like the scenario we painted earlier, where it's $5,000 or $7,000, it's a crazy amount of money in an older car. Who in their right mind wouldn't like to drive off in a new car rather than put out that kind of money to prop up an old car? And the interesting thing about old cars is, no disrespect, they're like older people. If a 60-year-old falls down, he jumps up. If an 85-year-old falls down, he might break his hip. When these components start to go, it seems like there's a lot of damage. But also, if we back up from this, the best way to handle Rhonda's original question of how can we sell cars out of service, our first imperative is to keep them into service. You still have dealerships not mandating service walks because they haven't communicated effectively how important it is to keep these people in line. Keep them here, keep them somewhere where we can communicate, where we can work, where we can draw profit. And I think if we don't do that and we don't communicate that, I think right from the beginning we have a problem, because I think we'll all agree, Ron, that if they're not there in the service department, you sure can't sell at the service department.
In the last 10 years, every dealership service department is now a very, very welcoming place. It's got drive-ins for the customers. It's got coffee. There needs.
Wait a minute! Don't tell that to Russell Hill, who took his Genesis in and was greeted with, "You have an appointment."
Yeah,
Right, Russell?
Right.
that's right.
What you're out in the field teaching, Larry, is that genuine kindness and caring is what needs to be back in the service department and what needs to be back on the sales department. And you bring the new energy. And it's just waking everybody up, is that this is why we're here. And they have gotten lethargic. They have gotten beat up. I mean, if we all think about the last 5 years, I mean, the exhaustion and the pivoting and the change in the auto industry, it's pretty exhausting for everybody.
Well, if they think it's too exhausting, they can always go work at McDonald's. Time flies while you're making fries. It's still an opportunity to make a lot of money and have great benefits and build a career that's exciting and interesting. Jeff's son is a tremendous tech. He's doing great in service. The rest of us are either working as vendors. I mean, we got Russell Hill in the program. He'll tell you that all he does is show dealerships how to increase their profitability through fixed operations.
That's right.
But it's back to the original thing that Rhonda stated. How can you sell more cars in service? First of all, you have to have them in service.
Yeah.
And I don't think we spend enough time emphasizing service, doing service walks, tying things in, making it clear how easy it is to work with us, that it's not going to be any more expensive than anything else, and how hard we will work to accommodate. I tell everybody all the time, you should make as many of your service appointments for your customers as you possibly can. You don't want to be the forgotten man. And if there's ever any tension between service and your customer, don't you want to be the person to mitigate it? Don't you want to be the person that says, hey, let me come back here and see what the heck's going on? Why wouldn't you want to control the emotions behind your business and your ongoing business? Hey, Jeff, I know you had to jump off last week, and man, we missed your input. What are your thoughts on this, my friend?
What is the question?
We're not sure. Martine and I started talking,
I'm
everybody's
in.
somewhat perplexed. How can we sell more cars through service? And why are we selling more cars?
And fixed ops.
I think maybe somewhere in the salesman's head, they think they're competing with service. And it's like, I don't want to go back there, because I make my money up front. I don't make it in the back, which is the wrong thinking, right? And it gets back to the simple thing, like I say, about why does a Ford dealer a mile away from me charge $199 for an oil change? They're deflecting business. Cover your costs on an oil change, but get the damn car on the rack. And it's a similar thing. You've got a bird in the hand in the back of your service department. Go talk to them.
I think we'll all agree it comes down to a general non-appreciation of fixed operations, which permeates dealerships and lets them take the eye off the ball. If there's one department that should never be neglected, it's fixed operations. We've seen that OEMs can make dealers crazy with changes to their product, with changes to their programs. But no matter what kind of car you have, at some point it needs a tune-up, or it needs warranty work, or it needs something. That should be the one part that you put a ton of emphasis on. Somebody said it earlier. I think it was Ian, that you got 50, 60, 70, 100 customers in the morning. What salesman wouldn't give anything to have 10 customers in a day, much less 60 or 70? And yet forever, we've seen people not understand that your service advisors should be top-notch salespeople. They should be caring. They should have an ulterior concept of what they're trying to accomplish. And they should work hard to keep their people happy. I saw Wendy nod her head. Jeff, when you're done, let's get Wendy.
The only thing I was going to add, if I do that as a salesperson in the morning, I'm going to miss 2 donuts.
Not if you bring the donuts back with you into the
And a kolache.
There you go.
You're not gonna have your choice of donuts? Is that what you mean?
I just want it noted for the record that I, Mr. Non-Technical, involved a lot of complicated theses, and one of the most technical guys I ever met, Jeff Shearer, went right for the donuts. Somehow I think we switched brains and bodies here, Jeff.
Yeah. If you ever want to sell a car deal or anything, show up with donuts. Everybody will be interested, even if they don't know who the hell you are. Just roll in with some donuts, man.
You're not a vendor. You're not a vendor if you're not toting sweets.
Oh yeah.
Right. Jeff, how about the fact that most salespeople must be suffering from malnutrition? Because when you bring a pizza into the back office, it's like wolves descending on sheep.
And back in the day when I was in AutoNation, I brought donuts back to the service department consistently, just because I wanted to be the guy that they said, oh, go see Jeff, man. Your car is going to need $3,200 worth of work. Go up front.
I got a great story for you, Jeff. I worked at a Honda store many years ago, and the service department, for some reason, was separated from the sales department physically. Like there was a distance. So I have no idea why. Like somebody that was their brain fart trust. So not only was no one going to see service, no one even visited service. Like you never went there. So I went there and delivered pizza to the service guys, and yeah, I got a lot of referrals from that, just because you took the time to come down and say hello and maybe learn a few things. But the thing that was really interesting about it was, even after I left that store, I was still getting referrals from the technicians because no one cared. They were like, oh yeah, you need a Honda? Okay, talk to this guy. It was really, really funny.
And it,
But-
it pays off for your detail guys too,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you need that spot delivery.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
They
you,
remember.
you got to be friends with everybody, but more importantly, you got to have those conversations, because if you have an appointment ratio, show ratio in sales of 60%, let's just say that's what the metric is, guaranteed your service show ratio is probably 80-90%. So even if you only have 10 people a day, 8 of them are showing up. Like, it's not a high cancellation when you got a problem with your vehicle. We had a comment from two people, from Eddie Campbell. Russell Hill is the greatest, and Larry, my man. Just so you know.
For anybody that doesn't know, Eddie Campbell from Forest Lane Chrysler Dodge Jeep
Man.
was an unbelievably good fixed operations director, and then they decided to make him the GM, and he has set records the last few months, not just in fixed ops, but in the sales end. The guy he's what a great hands-on guy he is.
Yeah,
And Russell, you know what I'm talking about.
I want to say something too.
Right.
Listen, the two biggest defection points are tires and oil changes, and Eddie has figured that out. You can either go back and listen to a podcast that he's been on or something like that, but I mean, they are into the tire game. As a matter of fact, the independents, they can't even compete with him. No, they can't even come close. And it's not just he's got people that know how to talk the talk. They know as much as any tire company, probably more. Okay, yeah. Eddie's a stud, man. Eddie, thank you so much. Love you, man, for all those kind comments.
Russell, you should share the link to the Zoom and let him give his 2 cents. I'm sure
Yeah,
viewers
and
will love it.
you are more than welcome, man. We would love to have you on.
Yeah,
Russell, send it to him. Wendy, you would love this guy. I had so much fun with him when I was in his store. I trained for 2 days with his guys. He stayed in the whole thing both days. What a pleasure he is.
yeah.
Awesome.
Hey.
Russell, I'm putting the link in the chat just in case you want to just give it to him.
I'm texting it to him as well. Copy.
So am I up now? Am I up
You're
now?
up. And then
You
I
are.
see our buddy David
So-
Rosick jumped in. Maybe we can hear from him to get his opinion.
Yeah, I invited David Rosick because I thought he would be a good contributor to this conversation. So,
Which part?
here's the
The
thing,
donut
three
part or the oil change
just
part?
the idea of people, the service selling cars. So here's the thing, I'm gonna give you 3 things and I'm gonna go back 40 years. So the thing is that our pain points are still the same. It's still the same solution that's needed. 1982, when I was just starting as a title clerk in Amato, and I went on and off for decades there, I would start early in the morning when I was covering for the service cashier early, right? And nobody ever wanted to work the dang service drive. Sorry.
You can spell it, you just can't say it.
I said dang. Anybody who misheard me, I said dang. Anyway, so work the service drive, guys. Why don't they see the benefit? I've also seen in service BDCs that also have vehicle acquisition centers, vehicle buying centers. They will scan every vehicle that comes in for service, and instead of service advisors or whoever working the lane, and then they will present a report with an appraisal or a purchase price for the vehicle. And then at the end of the day or before they pick up the car, whatever, hey, while you were here, we did a complimentary, scan of your vehicle, multi-point inspection, and actually we're looking for vehicles like yours. If you have any interest in selling it to us or trading it and upgrading, here is the amount that we would be prepared to offer you, something to that effect. Then you're planting the seeds, right? Sorry, Rhonda. And then when they pick up the car, the person they pick up the car, hey, we included an attachment here for you. Please make sure you read it. If you have any questions, give us a call. Second thing I've seen is, what we used to do for BDCs years ago was, and it still goes true today, is, and this is going to be facilitated, I'm surprised Jeff didn't mention it with his AI brilliance. When we start to build MCPs and we have all our data connected and everything else, or whether we're using a service provider right now with an AI product that can do this, we're going to have the entire history of the vehicle before you drive it into the service department. So if you've had concerns in the history of your vehicle, you've got declined repairs, you've got tires that are probably ready for replacement,
use this information. And then the night before, when you have the sale, not any other time, like even in a buyback, it could be a buyback situation where you're saying, hey, Mr. Customer, we noticed you're in a unique position with the equity in your vehicle that you could potentially upgrade to a newer vehicle or sell it to us outright. We're really in need for vehicles like yours. When you're here, if it's okay, we'll do a complimentary inspection. And then if you'd like to review it and come in and have a deeper discussion about it, or while you're here, please do that. But the reason you do it the night before is you don't want them to go to another store if they know they got equity in their vehicle and they're going to be shopping all down the road or whatever. They're going to be like, oh, dang, I can trade it in. Well, let me go here. They're 5 minutes from my house. Let me see what they would offer me first, right? Because then you lose the opportunity. So the magic happens in person, but there are a number of different ways in which we can lay the groundwork and plant the seeds. And it takes some of the grunt work away from the advisors because they don't want to upsell their own stuff if they're not well versed or they don't have a good conversion record more than likely, or if there's anything broken in that piece of the culture or process. Not that there's anything broken in our dealerships, variables or fixed ops. But the point is the problems and the solutions have been the same for decades. We need to take action. Figure out what it is and start now. Just do it.
Yeah,
and that's what I got.
Exactly.
We want to hear from David, we want to hear from Abdul, and we certainly want to hear from my boy Mike Larkin. Who would like to go first?
And Eddie said,
Did you forget
thanks.
about me? I mean, do I get an opportunity to say something? I'm just curious.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is it? All of you out there listening, shame him.
Will's feeling a little insecure.
No, it's okay. I don't have anything to say.
I would put Russell in.
No. I'm out. I just want to make a point. And Dave, you're in. I'm tagging. Okay, you're tagged.
You've exceeded the number of characters allowed for each presenter.
Russell, apparently you tuned in. This is not our passive aggressive show. That'll be following week.
There you go. So I just
My man,
love what everybody's talking about. I mean, I think it's amazing. I mean, I actually had talked about this afternoon. I was visiting with Alex from Sherman Dodge. And we were talking about a couple different things with some vendor stuff that he didn't understand. So we were talking about that, and he's like, hey, what did you do a little different when you were selling? And I said, when I was a service writer, let's go back then, my grandfather made me be a service writer. I said, I would be there early in the morning and people would have sales questions and there'd be nobody for me ever to answer or ask a question of until 9 o'clock. I said at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, I said, sometimes people had sales questions. Sometimes it would just be nice to introduce somebody and you'd have to wait 2 hours. And by that time, heck, a waiter could be gone. So I said, I learned early that when I came back to sales, I would show up at 6:30 in the morning at the dealership. Now I'm a little psychotic. I would go out to breakfast. I would prospect my waitress at breakfast. Then I'd swing over to the donut shop or bakery and I'd grab something to bring it into the dealership. But I would make that 6:30 in the morning meeting as the service writers and the service managers would meet about planning out their day. And I would always volunteer to take customers home in the morning so that I would get extra relationship time with customers and get to meet them. So I would be their run in the morning. I would help the parts department. And I got that relationship in the morning too, because that cashier that came in early in the morning, I was their go-to person for every question. So everybody would always show up at 9 o'clock and they're like, man, you have 2 or 3 car deals always working first thing in the morning. And I said, I don't know, I'm just blessed. I would never give away my secret sauce because the service manager, I was his go-to person. The service writers, they had a guy with a 3G bill and he needed to trade out. I was this guy. When it rained early, in the morning, the farmers couldn't be out in the field working. I was every farmer's buddy. And I just learned early often to just be friends with everybody and prospect the service lane. So later on, and Russell knows this, is when I got to Napleton, we had this VIP exchange program. And we actually set our people in the customer waiting area, and they were the greeters to talk to everybody. So you had the service area, our service check-in, but as soon as you came into our Honda store, the first person you met was our VIP exchange manager. And we didn't call it exchange manager then, I think we called it experience manager or concierge.
Yeah.
But you would meet with one of them, and everybody took turns in that role, whether it be sales or people assigned to that department. But your thing was just to be a concierge.
you got people something for breakfast, changed this TV for them, got them a newspaper, whatever you needed to do, got them a cup of coffee. And just your whole job there was to be a friend. But during the conversation, you were going to talk to them about their vehicle. You were going to give them a number on their trade-in. And if you piqued their interest, you were going to show them how to exchange that car. And literally, but when I left there, we had months where we would have 40 to 50 deals a month that the VIP exchange department would actually be part of. We had 4 full-time people when I left Oak Lawn and went to corporate. That's all they did, is they just were concierge in the service drive. So it was an amazing secret that, this was 20 years ago. So, yesterday's themes and stuff that we did is really today's thing all over again. I feel blessed that it seems like every decade we report the same stuff in a different way in the car business, if you really think about it. But the beautiful thing is, I know all of you guys to remind me of all the new technology and everything. So I'm going to shut up now and let everybody else go.
Yeah.
Also, why don't you jump in, my buddy, and then we'll hear from Mr. Larkin and Abdul.
Yeah, David. Yeah, well, hello to everybody out there. Look, if you got more questions, you're out there watching, feel free to chime in because you count. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Okay. So service, I did the same thing. I would be there at 7:30 when they open, 3 days a week. I'd work at service drive, do the same thing David was talking about, really critical. Listening to Gary early on, talking about all the opportunities, trade in, trade up, extended warranties. There's so many different ways that sales could benefit from working the service drive. Carl Sewell is probably one of the best ones at that and how that works. That service experience is second to none in the industry, but there's still a lot of people that just really don't get it. I like the VIP concierge idea. I really do. But when I started selling cars, which was in 1985, that's right, that was 40 years ago. That's where I learned those habits early on. As a matter of fact, I was a new car salesperson, but I realized quickly that I would not only sell new, but I'd sell pre-owned and work the service drive, and I had to do all three. And it really rounded me out. I got a chance to meet a lot of people. Listen, like an F&I term, you don't just drop them off and the finance manager comes out and introduces himself or herself. No. You do a handoff, right? And so there's can be some warm and fuzzies there. Well, I did the same thing as one of the things I did when I was interacting with customers in the sales department. I had at least two go-to service people, advisors that I would go to and introduce and talk about service and taking care of you after the fact, et cetera, et cetera. That's critical. It's crucial. I think a lot of it probably still goes on today. I don't see it as much because Larry referred to it. My experience with my Genesis was, after being there 30 minutes early and 3 cars deep with an appointment, and then he asked me, "Do you have an appointment?" Are you kidding me? That's where it all starts. I don't care if it's the sales department. I don't care if it's advisors. I don't care if it's the drive. As soon as they start to drive in, even before they get into the drive, they're already scanning and qualifying or whatever they're driving. So that critical hello, I'm so and so, welcome or welcome back, and smile and just start interacting. Look, we all know it. When I walk into a service department, when I walk into the sales department, it's really all about people. That's all it's about. You can feel it. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but you can feel it. And when you feel that feeling that, hey man, this is really good. Well, I'm telling you, you got some long-term probably advisors and technicians that have been there to get that. And if you don't feel that walking in, you got a horrible mess. You got a horrible operation. You know what? There's opportunities everywhere, but I think there's more, particularly with connected services and where things are going with AI. Preface that with there's a human side to that as well. So just keep that in mind too.
Yeah, it's about expectations. I agree with you 100%. Yep. I was doing a recall and they were proactive enough, the dealer, to say, hey, we'd love to look at your car and present an offer. But I rolled in there at the normal time for service, which say is 6:37 in the morning. Salesperson didn't roll in until 9. And then the one that actually booked the appointment, they didn't roll until later.
I have one thing. In 1997, I learned the 6 most powerful words in the English vocabulary. That's right. Get a pen and paper out, get your phone out, text it to yourself, whatever the case may be. So I'm working the service drive. I can't remember. It was a woman, but I can't remember the circumstances. But I can remember she was hot when she got out of that car. She was angry and upset. And I don't remember if it was the advisor or the manager. I'd be making it up, but it was one or the other. And she came up to him. I just stood back and watched it all. It seemed like it was 30 or 40 minutes. It was probably about 45 seconds is what it was. She came up. He engaged with her, and she right away just went off. And you could see what he's doing. He was nodding his head, acknowledging her, had eye contact, had a proper amount of distance where it wasn't an act or threat of intimidation, that kind of stuff. All those things are variables. And then I think it's probably 30 seconds into it, she paused to take a breath, and he just looked at her and said, "I apologize. Can you forgive me?" And he shut up.
Yeah.
She right away started apologizing. It had nothing to do. The dog got out this morning. She was late. The hot water, whatever the case may be. It was probably a combination of, "I apologize. Can you forgive me? Can you forgive us?" Etc. Those are and you don't say anything. It's like presenting numbers. Don't say anything after you do. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's it.
The other thing that I used to see when I sold cars, but even actually when I work with dealers, you'd see salesmen walk up to service customers who were there when they were working. And then the first thing that they'd ask them is say, what are you here for? They'd say service. And then they just ignore them after that. They wouldn't talk to them at all. They'd be like, yeah, he's there for service. He's not doing anything.
Ian, it's like the old days when people would come up to a customer and say, "Are you buying today?" And they'd say no, and they'd walk away from them. It's the short-sightedness of not understanding that not everything's immediate, and not everybody's going to come in and pull out their gold fillings and their watch and all their money and say, "Just take it."
Oh, 100%.
Hey, I didn't hear yet from my buddy Abdul or my main man, Mike Morgan. Which one of you fine gentlemen would like to go first?
Abdul, I see you're off mic. Go ahead, man.
Hello, everyone. It's so amazing that all of these experiences that I'm hearing from all of you fine gentlemen and ladies. I myself personally learned early in my sales career at the Honda dealership in Pasadena. And the service drive, because the dealership would open at 8:30. So I volunteered pretty much every morning shift that I had to be there at 7 o'clock, at 6:45, because service would open at 7. And I made friends with the service drivers and the service manager, of course. And then what we did was I took that and leading to sales, then I made sure you spiff them. We put $100 for each deal into the deal, and that worked out great. And I sort of took that and integrated into my team. When I became a closer at a team of 6, and I said, okay, guys, whoever's one morning shift, it's not as a penalty, as a reward, then I'll let you go an hour early, but come in an hour earlier from the shift and work it out. And that will bring the team at least 8 to 10 deals a month, and like when I hear this and the fixed ops and everything else that you hear, and it's really a pretty gold mine went there. And once the general sales manager saw this, he started implementing it with other teams as well. So that is so incredibly agreeable with all of your experiences and everything, that dealerships, it should be a confrontational. The service and sales, if they work together, and we made sure that anytime there was an RO that would come to $1,000 or more, sales department would be notified. If it's coming in, pickup time is at 2 o'clock and they're coming in, they'll give us a heads up an hour before, and we'll be ready to look at the car, get an appraisal ready and all of that. and that was the way to do it. And for many years that was secret to our success in the dealership industry, the Auto Square, all the way till the time I got into marketing myself till 2016. But the service drive is a gold mine, and bringing donuts, you're so right. Oh my God, when I was at F&I, donuts was not the thing, so bagels were the thing. Or LoJack wraps will come in and bring you some goodies. Starbucks was big time, of course, in 2000s and all that. So yeah, you gotta feed the hands that feeds you. You gotta do that. And service and sales, and the other good thing that you said, when it's an uplist, when you bring an uplist, and it's an easy way for a salesperson to say, oh, that was service. Well, the minute you're on the thing in service, and if you know that they have a good relationship with you, and service finds out that, hey, here's a cost is going to be $2,000 or $1,500, it's a great car. And also used car manager plays a big role in keeping a good relationship with the service directors and service writers. I want this car. I'm looking for this type of car. Just let me have a look at it. And then he'll go. And so it was all based on the salesperson, the service writer, the used car manager, and the sales manager, and the general sales manager. So say it becomes a team effort, then everything flows much smoother, and everybody benefits from it.
Yeah, we had a comment from LinkedIn. I've always wondered why more service departments don't take a second run at new vehicle customers who's declined F&I packages when the vehicle was purchased new. And I think this is interesting, but at the same time, what an idea for an F&I person to maybe work service from time to time to actually try and present that, because really that's kind of their wheelhouse, right?
Ian, I think the answer there, and Gary Solman will definitely agree with me, is it's a lack of process.
Yeah.
It's a lack of everybody rowing in the right direction and realizing the more we can sell an extended service contract, the more we can do service walks, the more we keep the people in the family, the better shot we have of not only being more profitable, but getting another chance, right back to Rhonda's topic, to selling more cars. Hey, Michael, before we jump to you, if you don't mind, Rhonda was telling her story and we all got excited. Rhonda, would you continue with your story? We'd love to hear how that thing all wound up.
Break out the sword jar.
Exactly. Well, so I'm sitting there in the waiting room, and the service guy leaves, and this woman is very upset. She's about to cry. And you don't want to hear you're getting a new car today if you can't really afford it. So I asked her, I said, this is not what you wanted to hear today. She goes, I need this car for work. I do sales. I go from place to place. The car has 140 1,000 miles on it. And I said to her, this is because I've sat in on Larry's training. I sold this car. I said, that car doesn't owe you anything. I said, you need a really reliable vehicle to do your job and to do it better. And not only that, you deserve a new car. Boom. Where's my commission? But I'm never going back to that dealer.
If you don't mind me dovetailing just back for a second, Russell Hill and I approach things in a very similar way. Russell's much more mentally stable than I am, but we always wind up at the same junction, which is it's your words wrapped around an attitude of gratitude. Russell and I came to a meeting of the minds a long time ago that you change your life and your trajectory when you stop saying I have to do it and you start saying you get to do it.
I get to.
When Russell, I never asked anybody how's your credit in Trent, New Jersey. The idiots I work with, that was always the first question because it was an area where a lot of people had bad.
That's a good solid way to build a relationship, I'm telling you.
Absolutely. But my thing was, I would wait for them to tell me they had credit, and I'd say, you know what? You seem really nice. Why don't we work to get together and get you something you deserve?
That's right.
You're immediately putting a spin on things where you're making it clear. look, we've got the nicest panel on earth, but we've got some very successful people on this program. But every one of us, whether it was a substance problem or a business problem or whatever it was, we've all had some ups and downs. How cool is it to reach when somebody's down and try to pull them up rather than, oh, good, they're down, let me kick them. And when your mentality is really to help people, isn't it funny that if all you care about is the money, you never really get all the money because people can see that you're seeing them as a walking dollar sign. But when you actually have some concern, when you embrace servant management, isn't it amazing how you actually get more done? Because your motives are pretty pure. Yeah, you want to make money, but you wouldn't mind helping people along the way. Mr. Larkin, you know I never would want to neglect you, sir.
Yeah, 2 points. Russell, nail on the head. My father taught me years ago, smile. It doesn't cost you anything.
It takes less muscles too.
I think it was the same amount of muscles that you have to smile has the same amount of muscles you use to frown.
No, I think it's more. I think it's harder.
It's more.
Is it
It's more. It is more.
It's less to smile, it's more to frown.
Yeah.
Okay. So dovetailing off of that, I got a question for all the panel. When is the last time you ever saw ChatGPT smile back at you?
Not yet.
It's not going to happen.
They can't chat. AI cannot
Going to
empathize.
happen.
It can't put its arm around you. It can't say, yeah, that happened to me. I hate when that happens. That's why everybody on this panel, from Wendy with the human side of AI, understands that it's a tool to be used in conjunction with our human skills and our human abilities. I think we'll all agree that when you substitute it for humans, when it becomes the replacement, it goes from being a crutch to being a dangerous weapon. What was your other point there, Michael?
Well, the first point was the smile and the frown. The second point is the AI cannot smile back at you. It's not going to happen. And so long as we have that in mind, okay, the human side of AI is the human relationship that you have one-on-one. And that's what I see that needs to improve for retention. Because once you made a friend, I'm making friends for life, right? I mean, I'm not friends with you one day and seeing what you can give or what you can benefit or how I can. We're not in high school anymore. So I'm in it to win it, and to win it is friends for life. So
Michael,
I'm dropping my mic.
Michael, what's wrong with being in high school? Russell, when I was in high school, I drove really
I just got out, so I mean.
when I was in high school, Russell, I listened to the Rolling Stones really loud. I drove really fast, and I would jump into the street and challenge tall people.
I don't remember it. I was doing way too much LSD back then.
Which might explain a lot of your contributions.
It is. So I wrote this down. People who focus on the price. People that focus on the price almost never get the prize, but people that focus on the price, I'm saying that wrong, it's a tongue twister. Y'all know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Do all of you out there listening know what I'm saying?
Yes, you're saying that people that focus on the prize rather than the price get the price, and the people that only focus on the price never get the prize.
Yeah. Thank you, Larry. See, this is why, we were probably both doing the same thing back then, but it's okay.
No, I'm just naturally mentally unstable. I didn't need any help in that area. And everybody in this panel will concur with that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, pricing really doesn't fix anything. But more importantly, the person who walks into a dealership, whether it be in service or sales, probably has a pretty good idea of what things cost, at least in a relative sense. I mean, you don't see too many people walking into a Ferrari dealership looking for a $200 monthly payment. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, that's not why they're there. I mean, so Quay, the t-shirt might be for you, I guess. But, I mean, that always shocked me when I dealt with, and we were talking a little bit about donuts. So I worked for Nissan Infiniti, and I'd always go around to the dealers regionally, and I'd bring donuts. And then I quickly realized that the Infiniti people, donuts were too low brow for them. And I was like, So what does that mean? You're croissant people?
Croissant, yeah.
Like what? What? Like you're still selling cars, man. Like get over yourself. Like it's a car with a different logo on it. Okay, I guess. You know, it's hilarious.
When it comes to people trying to act like big shots, one of my favorite stories is about Dizzy Dean. If anybody on the panel is not a baseball fan, Dizzy Dean was the Sandy Koufax back then. He was just an incredible pitcher, and he pitched in an all-star game, and a guy named Earl Averill hit a line drive off his toe and broke his foot. But he was anxious to come back, so he changed his pitching motion and he ruined his arm. But he was probably the most popular baseball player other than Babe Ruth in that time. So they made him a baseball announcer. Well, the problem was he had left the second grade to have a baseball career. People didn't slide into the bank, they slud, and he said ain't a lot. And the national school teachers, I'm not making this up, put a petition together to say, Mr. Dean, you are a role model. Would you please stop saying ain't on the radio broadcast? And his answer was, lady, this is the Depression. A lot of people that don't say ain't eating. So when you get a little too highbrow, when you get a little too hung up on the syllables or how fancy the label in your coat is, you know, I think it's a little sad. It's sad how people, hey, another one for you, Russell. It's the problem with some people is they see the price of everything but the value of nothing instead of reverse that. Instead of looking at dignity and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and also
Wendy,
it's about communication.
Either has her hand up or there's a Swami over her shoulder. What do you got, Wendy?
So first I want to say, you know, there's usually something that'll raise eyebrows that I'll say, right? I'll say something that everybody in the room is thinking, but I'm the one that'll say it. So I'm that person, but I love you all, and that's why our dealers, our vendors, everybody, our customers, it's all about people helping people. We all know this. So, and by the way, you guys inspired me. I was trying to think of a name to call my combination of you inside of AI with BDC Angels. It's common of, and I did a typo. I was typing agentic AI, and I typed angelic AI. Angelic AI is the human side for BDC Angels.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Did you buy the domain? Did you buy the domain?
First of all,
No.
I know domain.
Anyway, sure, put it on 4 streaming platforms. Why
Yeah.
not? Right, Wendy?
Yeah,
You
but
can have the
it'll be
domain.
gone by the time you get there.
$5,000. Anyway, so check it out.
And this is why they fired you from giving stock tips with that damn streaming.
Yeah.
I know, right? So, here's the thing, like, look at the reality. You made up a really important point about when people worry about the price more than the prize, okay? And that's the same thing and I'm gonna tell you what I experienced, because this is the real deal and this is what we all go through, right?
Yep.
The dealers are, what is the word, vendor fatigue, or they're so tired of the wrong solutions, right? And they can't seem to find the right one. But each time they have the opportunity for someone to provide a real solution, they browbeat us because they want us to give it to them for free, even if we already have it discounted to begin with, because everyone else beat them up so bad. And I mean, shouldn't our performance speak to itself? So now what I do is I say, hey, I know we have the solution, but we need to be together for 90 days because there's growing pains. The dealer doesn't get to your logins, your access to the CRM, the scripts they prefer, the TO chats, the this, the that. This is real life vendors and dealers and customers. This is what we experience. It's not just you guys being slapped with the wrong solutions, but at the same time, when you put AI, any kind of AI, on a broken promise, and you have a great BDC that's going to provide it and work with the AI, if there's no flow, for example, take service. I have 3 accounts that said, you know what, we don't really want to do the outbound voice portion anymore. We're going to try AI, and they are using a couple well-known products with no humans in the mix. And what happens there? Say it's a service AI that says 30% of the people don't want to speak to AI. What do, guys? They send it to the same service advisor lines or whoever that either the voicemail is full or they never get a call back. And then they start to have the churn and the drop rate and the bounces from the websites. And Russell, you know this because that's your product, right? For fixed stops.
Yeah.
then it becomes a Band-Aid instead of a solution. So stop looking for Band-Aids, red or blue pills, silver bullets, whatever you want to call it, instant fix, set it and forget it.
Shiny
Call someone and
objects.
let shiny objects. Let's mention somebody, like, if you want a really, really end-to-end solution, talk to Tim Hayden, build yourself an MCP, get the right kind of pieces together. But first, clean your data and fix your people and make sure you got the right
What
people
the
in the
hell
right
is an
role.
MCP?
In a human role. What do you call that? What do you call it? I forgot. Oh my God, I don't even know. Come on. Anyway, it's like a thing that houses all of your data.
Oh,
That's
CDP.
No, it's not a CDP.
Oh.
A CDP is no longer the solution.
You're talking.
CDP is how many times
You're
do they
talking
say this
Snowflake
integrates
or
and that
data
integrates and
warehousing.
it doesn't.
Yeah, you're talking Snowflake or data
Well,
warehousing.
I'm talking about Tim Hayden, who orchestrates it,
Yeah.
and then he uses products like Snowflake, or more importantly, Telium, I'm told, those types of things. But you have to get the wrong solution. You have to build it the right way so that it's like anything, like infrastructures that I build, that you have to have the right structure. And like I tell my agents, you have to build a foundation on a strong basis. You build it on soda crackers, it's going to crumble at the first hint of strain. I've added too much strain. So we need solutions, you guys, not Band-Aids.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to look at. And there has to be humans in the mix. And I'm landing my plane.
By the way, Mandy, I had a dealer who I did sign up recently, and when I called him, he said, "Yeah, I used a recruiter once. He wasn't any good." I said, "That's like telling me you went on a bad date, so you never dated again. You just didn't find it. You know, you got to kiss a lot of toads before you meet."
Great comeback, Larry.
Right, good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was it was a dealer on LinkedIn. He was saying how he doesn't endorse any vendors, and then he's doing a webinar where he's basically doing that. I was
No.
Make up your mind.
You didn't hear the whole statement. I don't endorse any vendors unless I get paid to endorse.
Oh, okay. I was a little confused. I'm listening to this going, it's a post for a webinar, and then on top of it, it's like, I don't endorse anything. I'm like, oh, okay.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a backhanded endorsement. Right?
Oh, yeah.
He's been picking his own vendors that he likes, and he's inviting them and letting them showcase it. But I'm not getting paid, and I'm not endorsing them. You know, it's in the store.
It was just funny to me. Like, get it straight.
I agree. I saw the same thing on that.
And then Eddie Campbell, culture. It took Chick-fil-A 2 years to get the employees to say "my pleasure" instead of "thank you." And you have to change the culture. The automotive world would have given up 90 days. Given up after 90 days, and someone would have been fired.
Wait a minute. We saw a miracle then. Chick-fil-A took 2 years to go from "thank you" to "it's my pleasure." And it's been 75 years, and we still have idiots saying, "Can I help you?" which automatically triggers "no thanks, I'm just looking."
Yep.
Are you here looking at something
Eddie,
specific?
and for all of you out there who's got a pen or paper or a phone again, EddieInService.com. Go check it out and see what he's doing. You're going to learn something. Okay.
Guys, he's one of the most quality guys. Russell, when I went to his store, I'm afraid to tell you how much fun we had and how much constructive stuff.
You can tell me, I can handle it. Go ahead.
You sat in my training, and you know
Yes,
how
I
much
did.
fun it is. He's the GM. He took 2 days and sat in the training both days, the whole thing. Man, did
How many GMs do that?
It's one less than one. Yep.
I would say
He's a
zero.
quality guy.
That's how you make an impact.
Yep.
Well done, Eddie.
We have 1 minute. It's my usual message. We're so thrilled to see all of you. And I thank Ian for stepping into the breach as a co-host. Ian, you have connected so many dots for so many people in this industry, and we all appreciate you. And we're really glad you're with us. And obviously, we wouldn't be able to do much with this darn thing without our girl Rhonda jumping in and navigating. And
Right on, Rhonda.
Rhonda, my accountant did get your request for working with me, and the request for hazardous duty pay is under consideration.
Brain.
I love it. So listen, Rhonda, Ian, Larry, Mike, Gary, Wendy, David, and Abdul. Thank you for making an impact in my life today. And all of you out there in streaming, dreaming land.
One second.
Absolutely.
Likewise.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.